T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Hey, 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 hey. It's the first day. It's the first day of Women's History Month, and we are here on Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. So, if you may or may not know, my name is Stephanie Hardy, aka at Queen Steph Hardy. I'm the host and creator of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and a co-host of Women's Wrestling Talk. But I'm not by myself. I am here with my Women's Wrestling Talk sister and host and creator of In Cat We Trust, Miss Katrina Blake. How are you?
Hey everybody, I'm good. How are you, Steph?
I'm doing fantastic, as you can hear. Because I am just so happy to be here with our special guests. They are like family to me at this point in my wrestling life. They are just amazing women in the wrestling world. They are accomplished wrestlers. One's an amazing referee. I'm pretty sure both of them have been referees at some point. They're Alabama Wrestling Hall of Famers, multi-time champions, but most importantly, they are the creators and the owners of the BellaDonna Division, the first all-female wrestling promotion here in the great state of Alabama. It's Casey Dillon and Veronica Fairchild. What's up, y'all?
Hey.
Yes, we are so honored to have you here on this first day.
I mean,
of
what a
Women's
day
History
to
Month.
start. Yeah. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
women. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yes, we do all kinds of amazing things in wrestling. So I'm just so happy like that TK, our CEO and boss lady, actually had this idea for us to talk. And when she said it to me, I was just like, yes, let's talk to them. Like, this is great. And I know I've talked with you individually on my own show, like this time last year, I believe. And so now we're on this brand, and I'm just so proud of this brand and everything that we do in terms of wrestling. So I'm not going to talk a whole lot anymore, but I am going to ask you guys some questions. So first of all, when did you both fall in love with wrestling, and when did you decide to make it your life's work?
You're first.
Well, I'm pretty sure I was conceived in the backseat of a car at an indie wrestling show. So I didn't really have much of a choice. Seriously. But my dad was a wrestler, so I was always around it from birth. And I had certain goals in my life that I wanted to achieve first. And then when I got to, I think it was supposed to be like 24. Okay, you start your wrestling career now. And so my birthday is towards the end of the year. So 24 came. I started, my birthday's in October, and I started training in December of 2007. So there was no turning back.
I don't have that cool of a story. I'm pretty sure I was just conceived in a regular bed.
Oh my God.
But my interest in wrestling was typical. It was grew up in the '90s. Wrestling was the thing. That's what you watched. It was on TV everywhere. It was fantastic. It was everything that we all love. It's athleticism. It's the showboating. Attractive guys. That's not why. It was everything, right? So how could you not like wrestling? So that's how I came into it. That's how I grew up, and I didn't get as early of a start as she did. I was a little bit later in my life. When I started training, I was in my late 20s. So here we are today.
Yeah, see, that's the thing about wrestling that I love so much is that even though people come from so many different worlds within it and you start at different times in your life, it's still very like it's one of those sports that doesn't necessarily look so much at age to the point to where they won't let you grow. Like of course, sometimes there are some people who have their moments with the ageism in wrestling, but depending on where you start, it's never really how you start. It's basically how you just begin to pop off and make the best of it, right? So, what were some of the greatest lessons that you both learned, during your training?
Ooh. The greatest lessons is don't piss off your trainer, right? No, for real. Teamwork. So important in wrestling. It's something that you may not think about at the time when you're training, but that's the time you learn it. And there's different types of teamwork. We all experience teamwork every day in our real lives, but don't really understand or get wrestling until you admit and acknowledge and learn how to use teamwork. And I'd say that's probably, outside generically of basics of wrestling itself. That's the most important thing I learned. And obviously professionalism, which, if you go to a good school, will be taught to you.
Yeah, etiquette's a big thing, or should be. I still feel like not everybody probably went to the proper school or did all of their training, but yeah, wrestling etiquette's a huge thing that I necessarily didn't know about. And the handshake was why are people shaking with their pinkies? This is stupid. Go and shake somebody's hand.
Why don't we test Stephanie on whether or not she knows what that means? Stephanie, what does the pinky shake mean?
I actually don't know what the pinky shake means.
Ooh.
What about you, Kat? You know?
No idea. I usually do the actual handshake when I'm in there, like backstage. It's just, how are you? And
Yeah, that's what I usually do too. It's just the actual handshake and say, hi, my name is blah. So what is the pinky handshake?
Veronica, you want to explain it? Go for it.
Okay, so next time you are meeting someone for the first time, I need you to just give them the normal handshake that you do, but I need the most firm grip you could possibly give someone, and then let me know what their reaction is afterwards. Because it's just an old thing where when you meet someone and you're working with them the first time, you're supposed to know how they are in the ring by how they shake your hand. And if it's a really firm grip, you're like, oh God, this person's going to be really hard to work with. They're going to really hit me. It's going to hurt. Or that's where the pinky shake comes in and oh, hey, good to see you. It's mostly a joke when it comes to the pinky part. But it's I'm really light when I work. I'm not going to hurt you at all. I didn't know that until my husband went to every match with me, and no one ever thought I was the person to be there for work. They always thought it was him. So, and he knew the difference in the handshake, and he knew that they all thought he was the guy going to be there to work. And every time he'd introduce himself to someone, he would do that very firm handshake, and they'd just go, oh man, and it wasn't even him working. It's always great to see things like that. Yeah, wrestling etiquette's a big thing, but I always got in trouble. I was so happy about being in the ring that I could not stop smiling. You should not smile when you're in pain, guys.
I mean, unless
I mean,
50 Shades stuff,
crazier
right?
things
But
have happened, right? But I would get in trouble. Why are you smiling? Your arm's getting ripped off. I'm just happy to be here. that was I had to learn that real fast because I had to do extra bumps when I did not. Every time I smiled, it would be a, why are you smiling? I'm sorry.
Wow, I can imagine that's really tough. Like, because it's just like that's kind of like how I feel anytime I'm either watching wrestling or even commentating. Like, I just feel so happy. But then, from a performer's perspective, you're not really supposed to, evoke that type of emotion because you're trying to tell a story of, grueling pain and it's an athletic thing and you have to be like really serious and really focused.
It took
But
a long
oh
time
my
for me to realize that.
Oh my gosh, I imagine that had to be really hard, especially if you are, pumped to be there and then they make you do bumps and everything. That's
Oh yeah.
so
Well, it's like any other sport. If you're
ouch.
doing something wrong, they're gonna make you run or do something. And
the wrestling version of run laps.
yeah, take
Mhm.
Yeah.
we'll up on the we had a an octagon, but the cage on the sides weren't up, so it was the plywood and just like a half inch of foam. And it really wasn't foam, it was more or less styrofoam where it didn't give that really hard part of the styrofoam. That's where you had to do the extra bumps. You didn't get the ring bumps, you got the octagon.
Ooh.
Start taking that shit. I'm not smiling.
And she still didn't learn
Well,
anything from it.
well, I can imagine those were great lessons that you proceeded to take, during your wrestling journeys. And speaking of your journeys, like what were your journeys like during in the independent wrestling scene? And was it welcoming to women at that time?
Uh, I'm a little bit later than you, so I'll start.
Yeah, see, I'm the old one in the bunch,
Yeah,
so
so we'll go a little modern day, then we'll go back to old school. Um, I don't believe at any time that it's necessarily easy, but I would 100% agree that I had it easier than Veronica did, right? And even that's with other issues being involved. The road was paved, right? It wasn't all shiny and golden, but it was paved. And we still had to work twice as hard for half as much, right? We're putting in the extra hours, we're putting in the extra days, we're doing everything for 5 less minutes. And you know what I'm saying when I say that in the ring. The guys are getting 10 to 12, you're getting 4 to 5.
that
And
includes entrances.
and that includes entrances. There's times in which you travel 13, 14 hours to be in the ring for 2.5 minutes. And then people are complaining, well, y'all didn't do anything. Well, what could be done in 2.5 minutes,
Exactly.
realistically, right? So, women's wrestling is boring. Women's wrestling is lame. There's nothing going on. Y'all don't hit each other. Well, we don't get the platform. But then you do get those 10 to 12 minutes occasionally. And when you do, you show up and you show out. So I will say that it was a little bit easier for me than it was for Veronica's time frame when she first started coming up. But still definitely not easy. We'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was paved. Yeah. I mean, you had the 90s where you see the bra and panty matches and you're like, that's wrestling? That's not what I want to do. And then you have Mickey James and Trish Stratus, and there's starting to be a little bit of change, right? And then you have Alita that comes along and you're like, those girls are wrestling. The people that paved the way for us, like Jazz, she was in that era where you wanted to be a wrestler, but to get to that status, you had to do whatever you were told. So my first match was in March of 2008. So I'm almost 14 years out from my very first match. Started training 15 years ago. And I was 24 when I started, which you think that sounds young. But in reality, when I started, there were so many girls that had started when they were 17, 18 years old, and they were at a higher mark and they were setting standards in a sense, but they also didn't have that indie background. It was more of a, hey, I came from a fitness model, or I'm this model or that. And I started the same year there was the contest. The Bella twins came out of the contest. Maurice came out of that contest. I can't remember what the name of it is now.
The Diva Search.
Diva Search, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a mold that everyone had to fit in, that little Barbie doll lifestyle. And I didn't feel like I fit that lifestyle. But then you see over here in the other world where Daphne is this hardcore, awesome, tatted up chick, and she physically fit that mold, but because she had tattoos and piercings, and she was just not that Barbie doll girl.
And she had a redneck accent that comes into a story.
I mean, it helps that she's from Alabama, but you see this separation, and you're like, this doesn't make sense. Well, I started out with my home-based company here that's no longer in business, but 3 months after my first match, I got in with Burt Prentice and Jerry Lawler. And my first match was with Sue Young with them. I didn't know this child. I was like, this is a child. How am I getting in the ring with this little girl? No idea how old she really was. Never met her. Oh, she was just so excited. And it was one of her, she had just started too. And I get in the ring, and now there were a few people that I'd worked with, and I was like, I don't know that wrestling's for me. These people are stupid. They don't really know what they're doing. Well, my first match with Sue, I'm in awe. I'm complaining because I'm wrestling a child, but after the match, I'm like, I want to know more about you. I need to know everything about you. It was like an instant bond. We were traveling everywhere, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sundays. Didn't matter where. We were all over the place. We were like Peggy and Bambi all over again. And for us, it was our version of Peggy and Bambi. Nobody knew who we were. But if it weren't for Bert and Jerry Lawler, so she got in with what was, now it's NXT, but it was FCW. And I was next in line. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be a diva. This is diva days now. And that was, there was nothing better than that. Well, I can't tell you how many times I get there and I don't, because I'm the white girl, I don't fit the Barbie doll mold. Okay. Tell me to go fix something. I go fix it. I come back. Got to fix this. You can't have multicolor hair. Okay. I'll go back all the way blonde. Come back. You need your fingernails to look like this. I mean, really? All of this time you're telling me this, and it's all because I don't look like a Barbie doll. Well, 2009-ish, 2010 maybe, I was just absolutely completely done with wrestling. I was like, this is stupid. I am so done, and I'm fed up with trying to fit the mold, because there shouldn't have to be a mold. That time there was Beth Phoenix, and they made her out to be like this massive, she was the Glamazon, and it was like here's my muscles, I'm gonna put my crown on. They made her like so manly that nobody could beat her, and she was so muscled up. It was so frustrating because I'd met her and I'm like, she's not that big. I mean, she's dripped like Jesus, but she is not that big that they're making her out to be, right? And it was so frustrating. I'm like, why can't there be just something for women where it's about women, not about what they need to look like, what they're supposed to mold to be? Because if we were all the same, what a boring world. And that's where it was getting. 2011, I actually got a yes. I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. I've done everything that they've told me to do. Plus, I fit the mold now of the typical little blonde girl. I'm not okay with it. What do I do? Well, the same week I got offered the contract was the same week my husband's father asked him to come run the family business that had been in business for over 50 years. And so it was like, go to Florida, move back to Florida, take this little bitty $25,000 contract, or inherit a multi-million-dollar company, guys. I went with it. That was probably the hardest decision I made. At the time, I was champion for several different companies, and they knew that they were going to lose me to the big company, so I had to drop the belts to different people. But I said I was done, absolutely done with wrestling, because how many people actually get to say thanks, but no thanks? I don't know anybody besides me that said no to any of the big companies. I'm not bragging about that, but it takes a lot, because that's exactly what I wanted. But because I got that yes, I was like, I made it. I'd arrived. I'm going to go out with a bang. And I said I would never get back in the wrestling ring. Ladies, never say never.
Exactly.
2 kids later, I said, no, my kids will never know that I've ever been in a wrestling ring. They will never know that mommy was a wrestler, a this or a that, all the careers before, right? Yeah. My son was almost 3 when me and my brother took him to his first wrestling show. And of course, we ruined him because we're front row at SmackDown. He's obsessed instantly. So then I started going back and hanging out with all of my old friends that are still doing wrestling. They're like, hey, why don't you just try some interviews and stuff? I'm like, I mean, I'm here anyways. Why not? Yeah. Hey, 2 months later, you need to start taking some bumps. We want to put the belt on you. I was like, I'm not wrestling. I'm just doing interviews, guys. This is a step too far. My daughter is almost a year old. So no, I'm not. No, sorry. They put the belt on me. And I met Casey. I want to say it was 2016.
It was 16, 17 time frame, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. And I was just ready. Okay, I'm going out with a bang. I just want to train. I want to be a trainer. I love being able to teach somebody everything that I know and make them better, lift them up on that pedestal to get them to where they want to be. I did that for about a year, and then I just got burnt out again, because it's the same. It started becoming the same thing. We had the evolution with WWE, and I was around the same time I met Casey. So I was like, yeah, women are starting to rise up. This is great. Let me help these girls get to the point that they want to be at, right? Well, those girls that start to come in, they start liking some other dudes in the business, and their dudes start talking to them, and they listen to the dudes for some reason and think that, oh, well, he's going to get me here. No, sister, he's not. You're going to have to do something for that. And typically that's what happens. And it's sad. And then we had the speak out movement. It's crazy how things kind of work out, right? Well, when I told Casey I was just absolutely done, she was like, yeah, right. I was like, yeah, see, I didn't tell you, but the last match I had with you was it. What? I know, right? Sorry. I wish there was a way we could just put all of girls like us who actually like to work, who want to be in the business and make the business better. Wish we could do all of this, because I wanted to do it 10 years ago and people told me I was crazy because, Glow and there's so many other people that have tried, but I don't think that they were trying to do what we were doing. And she was, oh, we could totally do that. Like, wait a minute. You said what? Nobody had ever agreed with me until I met Casey. It's like, wait a minute. Well, let's just go with it and see how far we can go with it. We were getting shut down before our even first show.
So that's beyond true. like beyond true when it comes to that. There were you know, there were people that weren't happy with us running a show, or even starting a division for that matter. We were told we were incapable, we were unknowledgeable, we didn't have the experience. We were there was people lying to about us to the state commission and other things. Just you know there's jealousy in business, and we get that.
That's
Um,
everywhere, but
we were doing something that no one else in the state was doing.
yes.
No one else in the state was even
Hey,
focusing on women's
yeah,
wrestling.
but it was the men who were trying to shut us down.
Hmm.
Yes, and as much, yeah, and we're going to get a little bit more into that. But I do want to ask Casey, had there ever been a point where you had a brush with possibly joining a mainstream wrestling promotion, and what was your decision making at that time?
No, I've never came as close as she has. I've done a few of the extra spots. I've got to I've got to tangle with some companies sometimes. I've had dart matches with ROH. We did some dart stuff with WWE one time. It's an extra quite a few times. Didn't get used as much as I wanted to, or as anyone would want to. But I've never been fortunate enough to have the offer that she got. Not from Big Daddy upstairs in Connecticut. No. But you know, what's your version of a big promotion is all dependable, right? On or not dependable, but all referencing to yourself in your own mind. So I've been content with the offers I've gotten.
Some of the some people like other companies better than others, so they would rank this one over this one when you would rank this one over this one. So I think it just depends on who is the person valuing that. Like if something's only worth as much as you'll pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you're willing to think is better than this or that,
Yeah,
I don't think personally, I don't think any of them's better than any of them. We're all on the same level. Just some have a lot more money than others.
But I was fortunate enough to make my rounds through OVW when OVW was still huge. WSUC ZW when it was still huge. We're rebuilding that thing now. But at the time when it was still big, made my way through Shimmer, made my way through Shine. So I had some time. I was happy with what I got.
She had all the knowledge she needed, despite what they were saying about us.
Would you say that it was more challenges starting the promotion rather than being the wrestler, like stepping into the ring? Was that harder for you, or was it harder having to kind of get the promotion off the ground and kind of get it started?
That's easy for me. Totally in the ring.
I found the promoting more difficult.
Well, see, I think it just depends on who you ask, because I feel like she does all the work.
Yeah, so it's much easier for Veronica. Starting wrestling, the key thing is most people don't know about me is I never wanted to be a wrestler. I went to my training academy to train to be a referee. GXW in Richmond, we had Earl Hebner and Dave Hebner as our trainees or trainers for the referee trainees, and that was the direction I always wanted to go. And Earl looked me and Dave looked me square in the eyes. Of course, they're shorter than me, so they looked up at me, and they said, "We're not going to train you as a referee. You're too big." So I was immediately pushed into wrestling, but. So my path into wrestling was not that difficult. The path into being a promoter was the hard part. That was, 500 no's before I ever got a yes to anything. And even with the reputation I had in the business about being professional and being on time and being nice to everyone, that really only goes so far when it comes to trying to book people to come work for you, because you're asking people to take time out of their lives to travel down to do this job for you, and at the end of the day, they don't know if they're going to get paid. They don't know what kind of condition they're coming into because I have no footage of the promotion. There's no one that can vouch for the promotion because it's new, right? So I found that portion more difficult.
Okay, and was there like, I guess, if you were taking, I guess, advice you might have gotten when you were training, when you were wrestling, that you kind of brought over to the promotion? What kind of, like, what was it that you kind of used to kind of, either keep the train moving or keep the gears turning?
It goes back to my original statement at the beginning of the interview. It's teamwork. Teamwork and tenacity.
It's not about you.
Mm-mm. And without my partner here, what we have would not exist. She had connections in Alabama that I didn't have. I don't live in Alabama. I've worked down there a lot, but that's not my territory. I'm up in Virginia, so the Mid Atlantic, the Northeast, even over to the central part of the country was more my territories. So it was a give take partnership, and we couldn't have gotten a quarter of what we've gotten done without each other.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. And I will be the first to say that I was completely in, but wanted to be a silent partner. And she was like, no, I need your name. I was like, I don't have a name. People don't know who I am anymore. I've been out of this business way too long. She's like, just trust me. I'm like, fine.
She has more of a name in the South than I did, so
I didn't believe her. I won't make that mistake again.
Oh, come on. You guys are iconic. Stop it.
Please.
Yes. So, was there ever a person that you guys wanted to face in the ring that you guys didn't get a chance to?
Oh, a million. Just I hate to be cliche, but the only way you learn in this business, well, not the only way, but the main way you learn in this business is by facing other people, is by being around other people that didn't train the same way as you or didn't come from the same background as you. So, in this business, your goal should be to wrestle everyone, anywhere, everywhere, at any time. I mean, yes, there's a million people I'd love to have wrestled. Particularly one that who is a popular person now that I would have loved to have got to work with, and it seems random, but it's the absolute truth. Is I did not get a chance to work with Holly Deb, and looking on the Impact roster, she's one of the 2 or 3 that I never got a chance to work with, and it's not for any other reason. It's not that I've ref plenty of her matches. But I never got a chance to really go toe to toe with her. And that woman is brutal in the ring. And sometimes it's fun to get to be a little more stiff out there. Sometimes it makes it a little bit more fun. And I never was that way, but push comes to shove, we could have fun that way. And she's known, safe, fun, knowledgeable, but that was a fight I wish I could have gotten into at some point.
And you, Veronica?
I always idled Mickey, James, and Trish Stratus, and Joyce Grable. And I only did not get to work with Trish. I've met her. Great. She's not very nice. Just never got to get in the ring with her. But I feel like because I worked Mickey so much, I was kind of in the ring with her.
By proxy, right?
You mentioned Veronica about burnout, and so I'm always a firm believer in if you need to kind of take a step back or get like a mental recharge to do so. And so, what are some things both of you ladies do to kind of just regroup, recharge, kind of recenter yourself when everything seems like you're burning out or it seems like a lot's happening and going on?
I feel like for me, there's always something going on. today, obviously nobody knows this, but y'all, I didn't know if I was going to get to do this interview. I was like, oh crap, I have planned for this and it's not going to happen. Oh, but it happened. Yay. Things like that happen. But I have, I, I like to say I like to call it peopling. I'm not big on the peopling part. I'm very extroverted where I can talk to anybody and do anything. But when there's so many people, I'm like, I have to back very far away and just cut off everything. There's no social media. I tend to watch Jeopardy, and I know that sounds so stupid, but I love Jeopardy. And I have to focus on answering the question because I'll get mad if I don't get it. So if I'm focused on that, everything else disappears. And my kids and my husband get so tired of watching Jeopardy.
The thing is, as much as she watches it, she's still trying to figure out what comes after B. I'm sorry, I had to do that. Love you. For me, it's my hobbies. I can't do wrestling 24/7. I can't. I'm running all these shows all over the country now. We're running these shows all over the country now, and
Yes.
we're putting the BellaDonna Division into so many other companies as part of their women's division or being their women's division that my plate's full 24/7. I'm always getting messages from girls in the on the roster. Hey, what date was it you needed me for? What city was it you needed me for? And I'm just like, oh crap! I think you're supposed to be in Illinois this week, and you're supposed to be in New Jersey, and I believe I'm supposed to be in Alabama, but like I don't know at this point. Oh crap! No, oh crap! I'm in Missouri to be a referee, and oh no, but see, it's so much. I do need an assistant. If Steph, if you're looking for a side job, but my hobbies keep me grounded, keep me sane. I have really weird hobbies, but mine nonetheless, and that's how I unwind and relax from the business at times.
And honestly, continuing to watch it so much, it makes you irritated because then you start to see things that most people don't see because that was terrible. Why did they not edit that out? I mean, things like that. And it's like, do I really want to book that person? Is that going to happen at our show? Are they that risky of a worker? Things like that. So you have to completely disconnect or you don't even want to be in the business anymore because you see too much.
Yep.
Okay, so in terms of that, like, what would you say? Well, I know what question I was going to ask. What exactly was the thought process when you guys decided to create the BellaDonna Division into its own brand, and what made you guys decide to station it here in the great state of Alabama?
Oh, we started in Alabama. So the way this whole thing came about was Veronica had retired at this point. She had was inducted into the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, Alabama Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and she was done with wrestling. I had just come back off a tour from the UK in which I had torn my knee up again. Was pending my 4th knee surgery, and on the same knee. And so I was done with wrestling. I love the sport. I love it to death, but I got to be able to walk. And, I kind of need my real life here. So I was done. I announced I was done. I had a retirement match up at WSU, actually. It was up in New Jersey. It was a doubleheader feature that night. We had 2 shows that day. And, I worked Shalante was my final match that afternoon. Cream Mink was my earlier match, and got a big send off with Sue, which was super happy to me because just like Veronica, we didn't even know we had that friend in common for the longest. uh, but great woman, great woman. Um, but yeah, so I was done with wrestling, completely done with wrestling, and I was told I couldn't be done, but I said I was, and I was asked to actually come down and build a women's division at the company where Veronica and I used to have a lot of our differences. Uh, um, and I accepted it. And as soon as I said I was interested in doing it, I immediately hit up Veronica and asked if she was interested in pursuing this with me. And push comes to shove, and 2, 3 years later, here we are. So
It was a lot of pushing and shoving.
yeah,
Please.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm happy it worked out the way it did. I guess to pursue it on to moving into its own promotion. Um, happened a bit. We had agreed that we were going to do it eventually, but push comes to shove, and real life happens, and we ended up moving that timeline forward about a year. If things would have stayed on par, we would have just now been starting to run the BellaDonna division, and probably would have been a lot more set up for it and a lot more ready. But we were shot out of a cannon at 100 miles per hour, so uh,
And it has not
luckily,
slowed down.
no, no,
It hasn't. And I
no.
feel like what I think the craziest part about the Belladonna division to me is not even just the fact that it started, from a very small thing and just watching it grow. It's just the fact that I know I was still very new to independent wrestling when I had heard about it. Because I was just like, what is that? And just hearing it was an all female promotion, I know I was just absolutely thrilled that this was happening, in my neck of the woods, because a lot of wrestling stuff, or a lot of the cool independent wrestling stuff, happens farther away from me.
Mhm.
That's how it felt at first, when I started going into podcasting and making friends in podcasting. A lot of where they're based is based in wrestling hub cities that are just really huge. And I was just like, man, like I wish something like that was, down here. And just the idea that Belladonna is down here, it's really great that it is, growing as fast as it is, because Alabama deserves something like that. We just do. Like, we're not just the football state, like Jesus
That's
Right.
Christ.
true.
Um, so we deserve to be known for more stuff besides that. So what was it like starting this promotion even during the pandemic? Because I know that had to be, a crazy experience.
Uh, you know, so many people suffered during the pandemic. And it's not something to make a lot of light about it. It's very serious for a lot of people. But to say this without putting a little bit of humor into it, um, COVID actually boosted the Belladonna division. And I say that because Alabama was one of probably 3 or 4 or 5 states in the country that basically shrugged COVID off and didn't didn't shut down much. So when everybody in the country was looking for a place to work, we were starting up a promotion looking for ladies, and so a whole roster was dumped into our arms, proverbially, if you want to if you want to say it that way. We were, you know, obviously, through my years of experience, through Veronica's years of experience, we had built up a list of friends and, you can call them allies if you'd like, people that we trust in the business. And I'd built the initial roster around just a few of those people, maybe 20, and then COVID. And ironically, our roster is what it is because of COVID.
Strange how that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was
So
great because at this point, females are still a feature on any show, anywhere. And now they have an opportunity to be the entire show. I had family members telling me this was the biggest mistake anybody could ever make. I was like, I don't care what you think.
Mm-mm.
I need to prove a point. And I mean, mostly I just didn't want them to be right, but I don't like being wrong. So I'm like, why? Why not now? So what? We'll just make sure everybody's tested. They want to wear a mask? Okay, they can wear the mask. We let them decide what they want to do. Now, of course, at the time it was the peak of COVID, and we were like, "Oh God, all the girls, we need to come. We're sick. What are we gonna do?" That also opened up other doors for girls that might not have been able to come on and be part of our roster too. So, you know,
It was a trying time. It was a trying time for sure. And even just getting the commission, you're working through state rules here. You're working through state laws. You've got folks that don't want to participate in the rules that we were having to enforce by state at times, which was difficult. But we pushed through it, and we made a product that worked in an area of the country where women's wrestling historically does not work. So can't complain too much.
What are your thoughts on like the current, like I know you guys have BellaDonna and that's, you're adding to like the significance of women in wrestling where it's not just a feature, that's what it is. And so what are your thoughts on, I guess, the state as a whole when it comes to how other promotions kind of deal with the women considered to like 5-10 years ago?
That's why people told me I was 10 years ago that this would never happen. I was always told, "Oh, you're just before your time." Well, maybe I was, but that didn't stop me from having a dream to not pursue it even 10 years later. And I told Casey that this is going to go more than Alabama. Well, I didn't take but a minute. And then, of course, Casey is a worry wart. Nobody knows that. I put out all the fires. She's like, "Oh my God, we got blah, 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 blah." I'm like, she didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm very okay with saying no and making sure it's done the right way. I don't care if I step on toes. I'm not getting in the ring with any of those girls anymore.
It's true.
But now I've lost the train of thought. But the feature part, when I told Casey it was going to go past Alabama, I was like, okay, this is going to be national now. That didn't take very long either. I said, well, I'm going all out and saying we're going to be international. Y'all, I swear. It was not long after I said that. Oh, by the way, we just got this company called BEW. I was like, what the heck is BEW and why did we get it? British Entertainment Wrestling.
Empire.
Empire. Why did I say entertainment? What the heck? Brain fart. Late.
It's all right.
That is instant international. I was like, okay. What else can I say to come true? But because of that, the BEW, they were a very, very awesome company, and they're all over the UK. So that made us international already. So our second show, we added a feature match, and it was men.
Mm-hmm.
I was very proud of that. It was great.
They never
had that experience themselves.
Mm-mm.
It was just so awesome to see a locker room full of girls everywhere, and then these tag team boys like, hi, nice to meet you. Where do we go?
Yep. Head down, don't know where to change, don't want to come out of the rooms, like all keeping to themselves. That's how it is for us at regular shows, right? You're pushed to the corner, you're given whatever match number you are, and just a few minutes. Y'all go out and do a few minutes. Well, I don't care who's over. One of y'all go over. Doesn't matter. And you're sitting there, especially when you're new to a promotion. You're sitting there, your head down. You know each other, maybe might know each other, and it's just it's it's all quiet. You're just trying to get through this night, and get a paycheck, and so yeah, the awkwardness of the guys having to do the opposite and be there, and and knowing that the people aren't there to see them.
It's that match where everybody
Yeah.
goes to the bathroom.
Mhm. Yeah, and
And
the
women have always been, They're like, oh, this will be short. I don't miss anything. They're not going to do anything good.
and the irony of the fact that we used the two AEW stars to be a throwaway guys match, and there was just with Nick Comoroto and Brick Aldridge.
Great dudes. Great.
Yeah, fantastic match. It was a great match. But it was a good timing for to warm the crowd up for Jazz, who was the highlight of the night. So.
All right. So what I want to ask is, what is your hopes, for the BellaDonna division in terms of growth? You guys did talk about, how we are going to go national, and how we do have an international connection. So what other hopes and dreams do you have for the BellaDonna division?
I want to be running monthly, if not bi-monthly, or rather twice a month, not bi-monthly, be every 2 months. I want to be running twice a month.
Right now, we're just at like a quarter kind of thing.
And I want to be doing it in every state, every city and every state. I want to be running in Canada. I want to be running over in the UK routinely, Europe eventually. These are big dreams, right? But we're setting that foundation now. Our next show, April 16th, is in Mount Vernon, Illinois. Started in Alabama, now we're in Illinois. This summer show is yet to be determined, but it's looking like it's probably going to be in West Virginia. Possibly a West Coast show later this year. I've been back and forth with Aubrey Edwards, trying to get us a promotion that she's well known with out in Washington. So working on that to potentially make us a little wintertime trip out west. So we'll see how everything's going to work out. But that's the goal I would like, is for us to be a traveling promotion where where people asking us to come in and run shows there. And but more important than any of that is, I want a promotion that the ladies want to come work for. And I don't mean that just because they can be seen, or they can get their foot in the door with bigger name girls. They get bigger matches, better quality matches. I want a place that's safe for the ladies and enjoyable, and a place where they can come and let their hair down and be themselves, and not have the drama of life come in with them. Usually at these shows, you're so on your minding your P's and Q's and dotting those I's, and I like a show where everybody can relax, and everybody but me, I can't relax, but we'll show where everybody can relax and they can have fun, and they can be their best, because they're not worried about everything else that's a problem in a lot of different places. And I don't know if we're there yet. We are getting a lot of requests from ladies to come work for us, and you'll be surprised at the level. And some of these girls are signed that are in my emails, sending their resumes and acting like I wouldn't know who they were. So, and just released NXT girls and just released AEW folks. So we're getting there. Our name, is out there, and thanks to people like you who's putting us up. And so that's where I hope we are in the future, and we'll see.
I completely agree with everything she said, but I want to add to that. I want the BellaDonna division to be a household wrestling division where people know what that is. Everybody knows AEW now. Everybody knows WWE, but I want them to know the BellaDonna division. Like, oh, that's that all-chick promotion. Yeah, we want to do that. Let's go to their pay-per-view. Yes, let's go. That's where all the people are. Let's go there. They're really good. And then we'll sell out arenas.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And I can say, without a shadow of a doubt, I am proud to be a part of the division as a commentator, as a budding commentator, because I'm not perfect, but I am proud to be a part of it and a part of its growth. And I'm really proud of the work that you guys do in terms of women's wrestling as a whole. And I admire you both so very much. I do have two other questions to ask. Um, since we've had three shows, on the third show, which was Coronation, which you can stream live on Fight TV, um, there was a tribute that you guys had at the beginning of the show to Daphne Unger, who sadly passed away last year. So, how would you say her spirit is, a part of the growth and a part of the spirit of the BellaDonna division?
Can you have women's wrestling in the South without Daphne? Um, you can't. You talk about her spirit. Her spirit is everywhere in the South. If there's a squared circle, her spirit's in it. You know, um, Daphne touched a lot of people. Daphne paved the way for a lot of ladies in this business, and whether you know the extent of how much she did for this business in general, um, you know, it's mind-boggling what she's done for people. She's helped make careers, and I
Mhm.
mean TV careers. I mean hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars in revenue type career. Like, she made dreams come true. So, unfortunately, um, we didn't have an opportunity for her to physically be at one of the shows. Our first show, she was unavailable. She had a prior commitment out in Colorado or Utah or something out there. And then the second show around, she she had some other prior commitments that we weren't able to work it out to where she could be there for that date. And then, of course, shortly afterwards, she passed. But you know, the reason we did that dedication is not it, it, it wasn't for us. I mean, it was closure. I think it was closure for us. But at the same time, there were so many girls on that show, that third show, Coronation, that she specifically touched, and so it wasn't just for us. It was for them too. Miss Veronica,
I'm trying not to cry on.
yeah, you had to do this to us, didn't you? You had to do this to us.
Mhm. She was a friend outside of wrestling, and it's very rare that you get that in the business, someone that cares that much.
Yeah, it's about all you can do before you get the waterworks going on that one, girl.
Mhm.
Yes, and I know that was a very beautiful part of that show. And like I said, like it was just you could tell the impact that she had on women's wrestling as a whole, as other promotions paid tribute to her and other wrestlers as well. So for us to be able to do that, that was a very heartfelt component of that show. But to switch gears a little bit, I want to ask you, um, who are some superstars that you guys would like to be a part of the Belladonna division in the future?
Ooh, oh, oh man, is money an issue in this statement?
Right?
Um, um, I don't believe there's a woman in this company or in this business that I wouldn't want as part of the Belladonna division. If you're a female in this business, well, for the most part, um, but if you're in this business, whether you're commentary or referee or a ring announcer, I want you on our roster. I want to
You were
bring
in the business for the right reasons and you are good at what you
yes,
do. You deserve to be on the best. And we consider Belladonna the best.
it's true, and so we're not necessarily the promotion that wants to. We're not a school. We're not a training facility. That's not the direction that we've moved toward. We want we want to show off the talent that people see all the time, but also the talent that people don't get to see all the time, who are on their up and ups. right? And we've got some fantastic girls that have yet to just, um, quite break in just yet, but they're getting so close. And like I said, if I want everybody, I want everybody. But if you're putting a gun to my head and forcing me to pick some names out of people that I would love to see on our roster, want to be Jessica Havoc. I love Jessica to death. Um, I really wish that you know her busy life, her busy schedule would allow her to come and to do some shows for us. Um, you know, the list could go on and on. I mean, we could sit here for 6 hours discuss just naming the people that I would love to see come work for us. Mickey, I think Veronica, we both have a history with Mickey James. Me being my training in Virginia, and her being from Virginia, and coming to train with us after she was after her first WWE run, and post having her child and stuff. So that's my experiences with her and MCW up in Maryland and other places, and then Veronica has her experience. I would love to bring Mickey in, and I'm sure Mickey would do what she was, be willing to come do it for us too. Just haven't had the opportunities just yet. So, but the list could go on and on.
Is there anybody you would like to see, Veronica?
I would like I said, I want every female that is in the business for the right reasons and can work and do whatever they do in this business to be so on our show. But I feel like maybe we should talk about what dudes do we want to be a feature on our show?
I don't know, but whoever we decide, we'll give them 5 to 6 minutes, curtain to curtain, and say we don't care about what happens.
Well, that's a pretty silly answer. That's a pretty silly answer, but my co-host Katrina does have to go. Thank you so much for joining us, for the time in which you were here. You have really terrific questions, and I can't wait to be back on the show with you again.
I know we don't do as much shows as we probably should.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Entertaining conversation. I just mom duties. I have to get my kids to bed. So
completely get it.
So I didn't want to just dip, while you guys are talking. But thank you so much.
Thank you
for asking me to be on, and it was so nice to meet you ladies both. And I will be checking and just watching. I just won't be able to be on.
All right, bye, Miss Katrina.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. All right. So now, since it's the three of us, I guess now would be a good time, for us to go to a little bit of a commercial break because we have to pay some bills here at Women's Wrestling Talk. So we're just going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is TK Trinidad. I'm the CEO of Women's Wrestling Talk.
And I'm the editor-in-chief of Women's Wrestling Talk, Drian Santana.
And let's talk about Riverside.fm, the leading podcast and video creation platform that's changing the game on how creators record content.
Riverside.fm allows you to record studio quality audio and up to 4K videos on their platform. Now you can interview a guest 1,000 miles away and it will sound like you're sitting in the same room.
Damn, 1,000 miles? Okay. It's as easy as using Zoom, but gives you much higher quality audio and video recordings.
Did we mention that they have a mobile app? This allows guests to connect directly from their phone and record content from anywhere. After your content is finished, you can easily grab clips to share them across your social media channels.
Oh, goodness. We definitely need that. Now, if you're looking for a hero platform for all your recording needs, from podcasts to webinars to other video content, you should be using Riverside.fm.
Sign up today so you can focus on your content and leave the quality to Riverside.fm. Use promo code SHIPIT and receive a 30% discount on your first 3 months of your subscription. Make sure you tell them that Women's Wrestling Talk sent you, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
All right. So now that we're done paying those bills, I have our basically we have another segment that's called Rapid Hot Tags, where you ask some pretty fun questions here, and then you just give us some really cool answers. Okay. So the first question is, who is your favorite artist of all time?
Oh, talk about artists,
Music
paintings,
artist.
music. Oh, music artists. Uh, I'll just I won't say name here, but I'll just go bye bye bye.
Oh my God! No, she did. No, she did. She did. She did.
That's a good song.
I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, shut up. I'm
I
old.
can't even answer it now.
Mm-hmm.
Veronica's laughing. She's having a laughing fit.
I was not expecting that.
Don't you judge me? I feel there's a lot of
I
judgment in
didn't
this,
know who your
this
favorite one
segment.
was. That's just okay. Never mind. Okay. Favorite. My favorite, who I think is the best, or actually, before I started wrestling, I was a massage therapist, and I went on tour with a lot of rock bands and a few country artists. And Breaking Benjamin. Anybody even knows who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they were my favorite. 3 Days Grace. I mean, you just said one. Never mind. Next.
Okay, favorite body part to work on in the ring.
Back.
I like the arm.
So you tell the difference between a heel and a baby face here, right?
There's so many ways to break it, you know?
Definitely. Your favorite show to binge watch
Current, all time, or what?
all time.
Oh, Jesus. The Office. This is a no-brainer for me.
Big Bang Theory. I can every episode 25 times a day.
That's how I feel about Grey's Anatomy, but this isn't about me. Okay, another question. Your house containing everything you own catches on fire. After saving your loved ones and your pets, you have time to safely make a final dash to save one item. What would it be?
Oh God, I'm a nerd. PS5. Let's just be
Uh,
truthful.
uh, uh, all my autograph stuff, like all my Boston Red Sox stuff.
She said one thing.
They're just right in front of me. They're plastered on a wall right now. I just grabbed them all.
Wow.
They're close to the front door.
Wow. Just the entire Boston Red Sox.
I wish I could turn my computer screen
Right.
around so you can see all this stuff on the wall.
That's funny. That's kind of how I feel about the Atlanta Braves, so I totally get it. I get it. If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want?
Well, I'm living to 124. I've already claimed it, so I'm going with the mind.
Ooh, well, no, I don't want to pay taxes that long. I'll gladly take the second option.
Okay. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Not to pay taxes.
Oh, good God.
Sorry. It's a segue.
I want to fly. I'm jealous of birds.
Invisibility. Just want to sneak into the movie theater.
That's what you want to use your superpower for?
I mean, it's a good usage though, because
With
I mean,
great-
you could
with
just go
great
in the
power
theater,
comes-
Ah!
Yeah, with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
and then you can eat off of people's food, and folks don't know what's going on.
Right?
Freak them out.
Where my
Take
tater
some
tots
candy.
go?
You want some
Right.
toys?
You can walk in and out to different theaters. I mean, that's a good sign. I think that's a pretty useful power for the movie theaters.
I'm just saying. Smart.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the end of our rapid hot tags portion of this
That's
interview.
fun.
Yeah, that was fun. So one more question I do want to ask though. It's like, who are your top 5 female wrestlers of all time in the spirit of Women's History Month?
You want to go first?
Okay. Trish Stratus, Mickey James, Joyce Grable, Sue Young, and because I'm going with brownie points, Casey Dillon.
You're not getting a pay raise.
Ah,
Luna Vachon, Lita, Mickey James. I would definitely throw China in there, but for different reasons than other people throw China in there for. And then, ironically, I would follow this up with Lufisto. And no, I'm not saying Veronica Fairchild.
No, I was joking. Daphne is in my top 5. I was just playing around.
okay, so who's your favorite commentator, though?
Oh, I'm going with brownie points on this one, and I'm so going with Stephanie Hardy.
I'm gonna second that one.
I'm racking up on these brownie points tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you guys. I was just joking, but yeah, thanks.
I mean, we all fish.
Yeah. All right. So, what are you guys most excited about in terms of your champions, of our champions of the BellaDonna division, in terms of Cassandra Golden and Shalance Royale?
These girls are crazy. Are you watching this Twitter feud that's going on right now?
No, I don't have Twitter.
Oh my God, no.
Oh my gosh. So spill the tea a little bit here. Shalance is bound, determined, and set in her mind that she would have been the BellaDonna Division Forbidden Elegance champion had she been able to be there January 15th if it wasn't for the call-up with AEW. So she has told the world multiple times over, including the night of the 15th, after it was announced that Miss Golden had won the title, that she could flat out beat Cassandra in a battle any day of the week. And you know how fates would have it, we had that exact battle in Illinois back in January when it came to the IWA BellaDonna title. And it was the Forbidden Elegance champion Cassandra Golden versus Shalance Royale.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I'm not going to say that it was a clean victory by any means, because if you watched it, it was quite the opposite, blatantly opposite. And I've recently had to financially punish Shalance for her recent actions at IWA. But, she had the opportunity to win the number 1 contender spot to face Cassandra Golden.
Mm-hmm.
And, she was unsuccessful in that. So April 16th, we do have Kylan King taking on Cassandra Golden for the Forbidden Elegance Championship in Mount Vernon, Illinois. And Shalance will be taking on WoW superstar Ray Lynn for the IWA BellaDonna Championship. And but back to Cassandra and Shalance, they're Shalance is giving it to Cassandra right now. And you should head on over to Twitter and check that out.
We need some extra security in April, probably.
I'm just saying, if we're gonna have some of those useless guys walking around, we might as well try to use them to separate Cassandra and Shalance, because those little Georgia girls, they're getting on each other right now. No,
Dirty South, we don't play.
They're getting on each other right now.
Like, it's gonna be really fierce. I can't wait to see it and commentate. That's gonna be lit.
I might have to sit out there with you, and somebody's like, "Hold up, I'm out here with you on this."
This weekend, previous weekend, I spent Saturday in Illinois with Shalance, and Sunday up in New Jersey with Cassandra, and I could tell you, they're both anticipating something crazy happening in April.
Interesting.
Very interesting. I can't wait.
I'm gonna probably sit out there with you.
Oh, definitely. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on Women's Wrestling Talk, Casey and Veronica. If you could just take this time to tell us where they can follow you and find you on social media and anything else you've got going on, you can do so now.
All right. Well, you could find my personal stuff at on Facebook at Casey Dillon. Instagram and IG is the same way. But you have to add the _ POD at the end of Casey Dillon. for more importantly, for the BellaDonna Division, you can find us at the BellaDonnaDivision.com. You can find us on Instagram at the BellaDonna Division, Twitter as the BellaDonna Division, and Facebook as guest at the BellaDonna Division.
So hard to remember all those things. Yeah, I think I don't know all the things that I have for social media. I am not good at social media. I'm sorry. But it's just Veronica Fairchild. So, yeah. And I have a podcast, but it has nothing to do with BellaDonna. But actually, I do drop BellaDonna a lot on there because we don't have sponsors and awesome commercials like you guys. We are just hitting record and pushing it to the feeds. But it's the Married AF podcast.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for coming on Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Now, of course, you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy. And you can follow Women's Wrestling Talk on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. And you can check out our website, www.talkpod.com, to find a whole bunch of articles. We have merchandise and so many other things that you can find and we've got going on. Of course, we'll be making various posts and stuff and articles for Women's History Month, the same as we did for Black History Month. So we've just got all kinds of great content to be, plastered everywhere on our website, on our social media platforms, everywhere. If you're not following us, where are you at? So basically, just follow Women's Wrestling Talk everywhere and listen to everything that we've got going on. It's great. So thank you guys for joining us on this live interview. And until next time, bye, y'all.
Women's
Bye.
Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.